Good evening, Facebookers. It's Mike here. Just thought we'd do a bit of kitchen chemistry, or baking as you might call it. Here we're going to make some rock cakes. It's a favourite in the Midlands and the north of England, isn't it? You've enjoyed them, I've enjoyed them. I'm going to have a little go at making them. First things, wash your hands. Nice clean pair of hands, you see. Bit cut out about, but there you go. I've washed them. I do a bit of gardening and stuff. Right, first thing on my recipe that I've got here is I need 225 grams of self-raising flour. So first thing is, get your kitchen scale on. This is mine. Oh, it's unstable, a bit like me really. Then you get your bowl, and then I'm going to have to tare it, as in bring it back to 0. That was 336. Wait till it goes down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Approximately about right. So I need 225 to put 230 in, because it only went down to 4 grams. But there you go. Keep going. So basically, if you've got a bowl on top of them, you just press tare again to bring it back to T-A-R-E to bring it back to 0. And if it doesn't 0, then note what number it starts at, plus or minus. So here we are. I'm just putting in as much as I can. Oh, we're over 200 now. Well done. There we go. Nearly there. There we are. 230. Well, my tooth doesn't hurt. I did a couple of weeks ago, though, by the way. Stop. The mixing bowl in my case here is a nice Pyrex bowl. And I need 110 grams of margarine. Whoops. Oh, I missed the bowl. Never mind. Hit the glass heat-proof cutting thing instead. That's 49 grams. Ooh, nearly there. And about another 20 grams, I think. Let's knock it off the side there. Ooh, what was that? 100? Did you split it between 120? That'll do. Baking trays. Some of you might be already switching on the oven now. In my case, it's a fan-assisted oven, so it's quite quick. So a nice, generous helping of marge on your baking tray there. On this one here. Whoopsie-daisy. And then the same again with the other one. I'm just topping up a bit more marge on the greaseproof paper here. You can use greaseproof paper, it's probably the best. Kitchen towel at a push, but greaseproof paper is better. There we go. Set your oven. In this case here, I'm setting my oven to 175 degrees centigrade, and there's my oven mark there. You can tell the oven's on in my case because the light comes on. By the way, do clear your oven of things, and best of the baking is sort of, I do it slightly just below the middle level, not on the bottom of the oven obviously, but slightly this tray which is on top. I did say that. Right, well, the marge can be cut into little blocks. In this case, I'm just going to put it into the flour as such, and then the job is very clean, because you're going to have to make basically crumbs out of this. What's it called? So I'm going to have to crumble it in. And this is the bit where you enjoy the messy bit. Takes you back to the days of being in the sandpits, really, isn't it? Did you have a sandpit at your school then? Well, we did, really, with water and stuff. We had lots of shows at work. Basically, I'm working the margarine and the flour together. You know, the chemistry of it, basically. You've got your unsaturated fats, your long molecules, 20 molecules, and then you've got your flour, of course, which is lots of gluten in it, of course, self-raising. We do add some baking powder to this mix, I do believe. So even though it is self-raising, I'm going to add a little bit of baking powder in a bit. This is the last bit of the recipe that involves actually you yourself personally handling the materials. So do make sure that your nails are nice and clean and your hands have been washed thoroughly. And of course, after I finish doing this, I will then wash my hands again. Okay, and I've put myself in about a flat teaspoon of baking powder into the mix here, as you can see. And I'm going to...
Most people put it in before then.
Yes, but we're talking about Michael here, aren't we? Never mind. I've just noticed that my mixture just isn't looking the right. Okay, it's not looking quite the right consistency, so I'm going to sprinkle in a bit more flour. Okay.
Oh.
That's it. We're working the extra flour. It's got to feel so that it's not too, too moist to feel. It's got to feel sort of like breadcrumbs, really, by the end of this So in my case, because I added probably just a little bit more marge, it's had to have a bit of sprinkling, because you can feel it. You can feel the right consistency when you're doing it. Let's see. Okay, at this stage I'm going to put my spice in, and I'm going to put about a level teaspoon of spice. Not too much, you don't have to overdo it. There you go. Tiny bit more maybe. That's it. On my scales here I need 60 grams. Probably more than you think really, so each one sprinkle's about 10 grams, so it's going to be about possibly 10 sprinkles really. That's 44, 54, not too bad. And 60 grams, that'll do. A bit more in, okay, I've been told to put a bit more in. Stop. Sugar. I've actually used granulated cane sugar for this. Adds a bit of, je ne sais quoi to my recipe. Now it's the sultanas. Now I've got dried fruit about 170 grams. That is an awful lot of dried fruit, right? So I'm not going to put that much in. My scale's reading about 4 grams. Let's see what that 75 looks like. I do make these quite small. I do make about, you know, over 12 of them. That's 86 grams. A bit more, I've been told. 100, just over 100, and I've got this green light for that. Right. So again, I'm putting my. I've used sultanas. You can use mixed fruit. Those of you who like orange peel and lemon peel and candy peel. Right. Now I do not need to. I'm going to wash my hands now. Right. I decided to jazz it up a little bit and add some mixed peel in as well. Might as well, because it did say quite a lot of mixed. You know, dried fruit. It said 170 grams. I put about 110 in, so let's put a bit of this this in here. I think maybe a bit more of that'll do. Fold it in, basically. I've washed my hands, of course, and I'm just folding this in. The next bit after this one, when I've done a bit more folding with this, you know, really give it a good stir, basically. You know, you really do need to make sure those raisins and peel are folded in with the sugar and just cinnamon spices. Mine's mixed spices. Okay, looking good. Bash it a bit. Okay, next thing is your egg. Okay, so I break my egg on the bowl. Probably sometimes better on a cup, but make sure it's on the side so you don't lose your egg. There you go. Not brilliant, that one. Okay. So you just add a little tad of milk to that. About that much, that's it. And I mix it in. Use a fork if you like. Always best whisk it in. That's it. Okay, so whisk that in. Makes a change from these tribute drinks that you lot have been doing. I'm actually using this for baking. I'm not going to put it into some alcoholic poisonous thing and drink it. This is, you know, proper baking with my call. Right, that's as is. Then basically it's a question of mixing and pouring in. There we go. In she goes. Done. That back there, and then of course I'm back to the wooden spoon in the kitchen. Yes, perhaps some of you have already tasted some of my creations and Jane's creations, and I used to work with here. So this is one of the simpler things to do, and if you're just starting off with baking and you want to just, you know, try it, I would recommend doing this as one of your first recipes, because really, providing you follow this basic recipe I'm doing, you really can't go wrong. So basically you need your granulated grain sugar, some baking powder, self-raising flour, 1 egg, a bit of milk, you know, not loads of milk. I use full fat milk, you don't have to. Your sultanas, you can use about 110 grams. You need some mixed spice, or failing that, get something with you know, cinnamon, that sort of thing. You can use candy peel, and make sure everything's clean and your oven's on. My oven, by the way, is a fan assisted oven, so I've only just turned it on now, but then I'm nearly finished making this. This is when you use a bit of muscle power. Really bash into it, really rip into it. There you go, you see. Okay. And basically you get 1 spoon your fledgling little scone that goes there. Then, or rock cake as you want to call it. And there you go, there's another little beauty there. It will all stick together, so even if they look a bit misshapen, etc., they'll still stick together. There we go. And you can be generous if you like, but make sure you put space between them, because they do get rather big. They do tend to grow. Self-raising being the clue to what's going to happen. And don't forget we've added the baking soda as well. The sodium hydrogen carbonate, and also sometimes it's tartaric acid. But the generation of carbon dioxide by the process in baking of the thermal decomposition of bicarbonate, as you know from your chemistry of course, means that these babies are going to absolutely rise. So hopefully we should get the 9 onto this tray. I don't know how many we'll do on the other one, but there you go. Well, there's a bit of flour in there that didn't quite bash out, but hopefully the baking process will be more forgiving than me. And we've got our first tray ready. I'll just wang a little bit of extra onto that last one on the end.
It's got to cook, you know.
Apparently I've been told it's got to cook. Right, okay, my first 9, it's a fan assisted oven, so the temperature should be quite even throughout the oven. Okay, so this one here will go on the bottom.
On the top. Where it is.
Well, go there, and there we go. There it goes. The cooking time for these can vary enormously. I've got the timer here set to about 15 minutes. Okay, that's the first batch. So hopefully they should be ready first. Let's do the second lot from the mixture. Of course there'll be less on this one because I've been rather generous on my rock cakes. Here we go. And I can't recommend this too much really for your Friday evening. What would you rather be doing? Drinking Jaeger bombs or doing this? For me, there's just no contest. I don't really drink anyway these days, so as I've told you before in previous blogs, when you saw me making the elderflower juice, the presse as I called it at the time. Of course, if you're interested, do take a look at my posts. Go back in my timeline and have a look at the elderflower if you haven't already. Right, so this one here, of course, will be the babby of the lot, a little runt of the litter at the end there. A bit like me, really. Never mind, we all have to bear our crosses in life, don't we? And I certainly know how to. There we go. Pop that there, that's me, I'm the runt. There we go. That'll be my favourite one, probably. Oh, I didn't get my... What have I done it with it? Oh, yes, it's there. There we are, I see. Bit of a midget, as always. Here we go, get the baking tray. And mind your legs, of course. Don't get your legs taken off by the oven. I'll pop this one on the lower shelf here. There you go. And can move this into the middle of the oven, the first one. Don't touch them. By the way, don't bash them when they go in the oven, as someone did tell me. Right, so the most important thing now, Facebookers, is to do all the washing up then. And I love washing up, don't you? Okay, so time's just about up on the cakes, so now time to go and check and see how they're getting on. Now, as you recall, the first batch I put in should be the first batch that's ready. So using oven gloves, of course, because the oven is very hot. It's 175 I have this on. But do remember, it is a fan-assisted oven, this oven. So you might have to have yours slightly higher, but certainly no hotter than about 200. Looking at those, even by my amateur eye, they're not quite done, are they, Facebookers? So basically, they're going to go in for about another 5 minutes, I think. And obviously the ones below are lagging behind by quite a few minutes. But look at my favourite one, the runt of the litter. I'm so looking forward to having runty later on. There we go. Back in the oven, pop it back in, turn your timer up, and we'll have about 5 minutes. See you in 5. It's has come and gone, so let's see if they're ready now then. Basically, if I go for the top tray here, yep, go for the top tray here, take them out, and you need your tray here, so I've got one ready here. pop them onto there. And what I'm going to do now, I'll just shut the oven door there and basically see if they're ready. What you do is you get yourself a cocktail stick, like so, and then you basically pick one and you dab it in to the cocktail stick. Deep in you go, take it out. What you want to see is whether or not it's moist or not. I think that's pretty dry actually, so I think they're ready. If you like yours slightly well done, then carry on, but I think they're ready. Because you put a bit of margarine on them, basically if you get yourself a nice sharp knife, be careful with sharp knives of course, not for children of course. None of these instructions are suitable unless you're supervised by an adult, by the way, if you are under the age. And of course, remember that sharp knives can only be purchased by people who are 21 and over, I do believe anyway. Right, there we go. Now I'm going to put them onto the baking tray here, which is the cooling rack. From baking tray to cooling rack here. Here we go, one at a time. And they're not quite done yet really, because there's a bit more to be done with these once they're all on the rack. There we go. Of course, by which time Gordon Ramsay would have screamed me out of the kitchen for how slow I am, but there we go. And numero 9 is upside down. Let's turn that round. Okay. Now these other ones, which include runty at the back there, as you can see runty, they're just not quite ready, they're lagging quite, but you can put them slightly higher now onto the tray that the others were on. Okay, and we'll have to give them another 5 at least, I think. Once your rock cakes have cooled properly, then you'll be wanting to put something on, some sugar on. I'm using dark muscovado. You just sprinkle it on when they've properly cooled down. Then obviously you'll be wanting to store them, so that when you're watching your favourite box set or catch up on TV, you can then put them on top. You've got 2 layers here, 1 layer on there, and then you can obviously one layer put another layer on top, and then make sure it's sealable. In this case, this is an old biscuit container. This actually seals properly, and therefore they don't get too damp. Enjoy. So time's up now, and we're ready to get the second lot of cakes out, the rock cakes. Again, oven gloves. I've moved these from the lower tray up to the higher in the oven. They look very well done. Here they go, onto the baking tray, and we're going to have to test them again with the cocktail stick. To me they look done, but let's just see. So in we go with the cocktail stick, and out again. Seems cooked to me. You only really need to test one of them, I'm just too... Of course, don't forget to turn your oven off. You don't want to be having your oven on if you're not using it, do you? 0, 0 on there, timer on 0. Once they're off, turn the oven off. If you want to keep your room a bit warm, just to vent the excess heat from the oven, then open the door slightly to warm up your kitchen a little bit if it's cold, and open a window of course if you wish. Now here we go. I'm going to actually move these then off the baking tray, which of course I grease with margarine, and onto the rack. Okay, and there we go. And second to last one here, and here's my favourite one, runty. I knew you were going to ask about runty, but there he is. See, runty's all cooked and lovely. Here we go. These of course will dry first, as in cool first, sorry, and these other ones will cool last. Once they're all cool, now the sugar side of things, I'm going to have the dark muscovado on mine. The other half Jane prefers this one, Barbados cane sugar. Don't sprinkle it on now because these are too hot. Once they've completely cooled down, then you can sprinkle a little bit of sugar on, and then it's ready to... I recommend it with some proper coffee from a cafetiere. Cafetiere. I'll get it right one day anyway. But if you make yourself a nice cappuccino or a nice black coffee with one of these rock cakes, to me, it beats a Jaeger bomb any time. Enjoy from Mike. Here we have the finished products. The ones we're not eating now are being put in layers. There we have some kitchen paper towel, and we've got 2 layers. That's what we've got to eat underneath. Right, this one will be mine. That's with the dark brown muscovado sugar. And this one is, if you would like to go to Barbados, this one is Barbados cane sugar, which will be Jane's, each with our respective teaspoons. Unfortunately not the matching plates, and obviously this is my container here, which I can then put and seal the lid on. So we're going to have tea with this because we don't want to have coffee at this time of night, because it's about 11:15, and a cup of hot coffee, strong, will just keep you awake.